correct the prison system, please do so now to correct this busted up environmental regulatory system that we have in this state. Thank you.
My name is Beverly Brannon. I'm a grandmother, so I'm not the right person to be speaking here, except I've been in the research since January 31, night and day, 24 hours a day, and can I bark? 2 times gas well drilling events have touched my life. Like driving through skunk scent, the first event put my body to sleep, just driving a half mile through an odor of black oil. The second event burned my throat, made me weak, and caused me to shake for 15 minutes as we drove away. I am not medically sensitive. I do identify flavors in food easily. So I got on the phone. Hazardous Materials Fire Chief Webb and I were on the phone for 4 hours. And the head of drilling in Fort Worth, Scarborough, they both recognized the situation and explained events to me. Bottom line on those things were, it was gas well drilling events. One of them was 7319 West Vickery, Fort Worth. But that's not why I'm here. I've discovered that sustaining development does not mean safe air and safe water to sustain human life, the lives of my children and my grandchildren. And that's why I'm here. Sustaining development means opportunity to earn money. When I arrived here, I found the words I was looking for. Human economic cost versus business economic cost. Acres of attorneys can be purchased by businesses. Acres of lobbyists and PR consultants can be furnished by businesses. Little people have no voice. An attorney who lives on my street, who defends leukemia, let me say it correctly, leukemia coming from workplace benzene, looks at the blood report, he looks at address on the DNA, address number 21, there's a second number he looks at. If both of those are damaged, it's benzene, it's this particular kind of leukemia. If you guys don't know that, you need to know. It shows up on the DNA report. It's probably in the OSHA. OSHA has its list of high-dose, short-term exposure, things that kill you. We in neighborhoods do not have a neighborhood safety exposure list of stuff that kills us. When I was put to sleep by this chemical, it put my legs, my arms, my shoulders, my head, and my eyes to sleep. My mind was not put to sleep. At that point, I said, what is happening to me? I was very frightened. I knew that I had to shout. I had to activate my adrenal glands because something was wrong. I didn't know what it was, and I didn't ask for it. So, in a grandmother point of view, it's sort of like at school when you walk between the desks in an aisle and somebody reaches out and hits you. You don't ask for it, you don't know it's coming, and you don't know what to do with it. Anyway, I woke myself up, we got to our destination. I was so weak I couldn't get out of the car, I had to wait. Okay, I'm a doctor's kid. Some kind of anesthetic, who knows. The second time it happened to me, that's when my throat burned, I was weak, and I had to ask the manager of the restaurant what was going on. He said a lot of people had left, they are sick. We closed the kitchen looking for a gas leak. And then when I knew he understood what was going on, I left, and that's when I shut for 15 minutes. Got home and called TCEQ, and they came out, and they said, we didn't see anything, but they were doing pipeline work behind the restaurant. And then it dawned on me, I had seen 2 tanker trucks. I hate to say they had frack mud in them, I don't know what they had, but there was a smell there, and it burns your throat. And you know, you don't pay attention, you don't know. So, when Jerry Lobdell came out with his recommendations of things, I said, oh my goodness, I'm going to go talk to these people. A vapor recovery system, though it may be costly to install. It will, over time, pay for itself and then return a profit. In the meantime, it will protect people from a bunch of stuff that we don't know that's going to happen to us. He asked for no vents on equipment. That would be good, because another neighborhood wants to say, finish all drilling in a green fashion, meaning you don't flare. I think that's good because it keeps it out of the air. When I smell a compression station, because I've been out seeing it, they make me weak, but they don't do the other things to me. And this is with a bunch of wind blowing at you and you're a half mile away from it. If there is no venting there, if there is vapor recovery, you can't tell me you can't reuse that stuff. It's just somebody hasn't thought about how. And so I'm here saying, you've got a Wilma Subra who can handshake disciplines. She can match up stuff with where they fit. I've got an attorney who can handshake blood reports against benzene and leukemia in the workplace. He wins. Somebody is not thinking outside of the box. Somebody is not, I don't know how to say it, but not handshaking. The only other example I can give you is when I was trying to figure out what about fracturing through a water table causes it to oscillate, vibrate, and you run into a pipe organ. The lowest pipe on the pipe organ is 256 feet tall. It vibrates at a vibration level. You cannot hear it. You see it on an oscillator. You see a wave stove, a wave form. The next pipe to it, yes, you can hear that one. That vibration is called sound. So if you put one of those big tubes in the middle of a water table and you run stuff through it, that's called compression, that's called friction. It does vibrate, but we cannot hear it. And when you look at earthquake in mountains, when they can shake a whole lake, that's called seiches. It shakes the whole lake upside down, sideways, top and bottom. It keeps going. So it takes something like an organ to translate earthquake vibration of a water table. A Wilma Subra who can match up handshake stuff. In computer systems, you have to handshake from the program out to the application. That's what you guys are not missing. You can't own it. It's too complicated. You have to depend on a computer. Or you have to get a dumb little grandmother up here that knows nothing, saying, guys, come on. You can do it better than what you're doing. We have to have business. We have to have safe life. I'm talking too long, I'm so sorry. But you've got to make it safe for the children, or there won't be anybody to spend anybody's money, and we won't really have a country anymore. And thank you for taking your time.
Thank you both very much. The last speaker that I have signed up is Sandra DeVraber. And let me just ask, is there anyone else that's here that's interested in speaking that has not signed up? Okay. We'll go with Sandra as our last speaker then, and then we'll reconvene at 6 o'clock tonight. So, Sandra, please.
I live less than 600 feet. I live less than 600 feet from a gas drilling rig. And they've been drilling now for over 2 years, 8 months. It's made me very, very ill over this time period. I have for you today, which I will give to you when I'm finished, a letter from my doctor that was written for the TCEQ showing cause and effect. And all the tests that I've had, I've had multiple tests run blood-wise. I've also had soma air samples, all through the TCEQ. And I wanted the TCEQ to understand that what they have done to me is deny the fact that the drilling made me ill, when in fact the drilling has made me ill because of the cause and effect, which is basic medical standards that my doctor used to diagnose. And I've still yet to get a response from the TCEQ on my doctor's letter to them. I know that the drilling site was set up my carbon monoxide detector, and I have no gas in my home. And they would say, it's not us. I would stick my head out the door and their diesel exhaust would be so strong, it would set up instant migraine and I'd feel like throwing up and it would destroy my whole day. This has been going on for way too long, as you can understand, 2 years, 8 months, and they're not done. They're fracking now. And this morning it set off another migraine with their diesel exhaust. And there's been no relief. And it's very frustrating trying to live a life when you don't, it's like playing Russian roulette. I know that they can drill using electric from the power grid. I know they can do vapor recovery. I know they can do grid completion. There is so much they can do that they refuse to do. And without those, who are they affecting? They're affecting the normal people like me. There's a daycare center 300 feet from this drill site. Those children are the most sensitive, and it's been published that diesel exhaust causes brain damage along with all the other things. And whose minds are the most sensitive? It's the children. So if we don't do something to protect the children and protect those closest to those that are drilling and stop some of the abuse that the drilling industry uses, when there are safer ways to do it, then we're going to ask you to please help us because you can do something since they're not. I also have an article here, not an article, a letter. I wrote to the State Attorney General 3 times before I finally figured out how to address them and ask specifically or state a law specifically about the drilling making me ill. And I've got a copy of his response that says, well, unless we need additional information, you won't hear from us again. And the only thing I can tell you is that shortly thereafter, the TCEQ was told they could not go on an active drill site, and that came from Austin. And it wasn't until several months later that they were allowed to go on a drill site again. And I thought that letter was very important because if our State Attorney General is not supporting the TCEQ in trying to help us, why would the TCEQ really try? And I ask that you please help us because it's frustrating not to have anybody there. Not the local government, because the local government says it's a state university property. Not the state, not the TCEQ. So nobody's been protecting me all this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks to all of you for coming to this portion of this meeting. And as I said, we will reconvene tonight at 6 o'clock.
Test. All right. Does the Natural Gas STAR program, is that an example of your control technique guidelines, how you're helpful to the field in giving them direction? What you were just showing on all the different emission sources, is that considered a control technique guideline, your Natural Gas STAR program? So that is what the Natural Gas STAR
Well, that is the program. Well, we've been working with our Natural Gas STAR program to try to benefit from the experience they've had since 1993 in the program to help identify the sources of emissions and to help quantify them.
So that's kind of comprehensive of what you showed the opportunity on this tonight?
Yes.
Okay. And then the Texas Railroad Commission lady today was here, and she made a comment that if you seal every leak and crack and crevice up, that you're going to cause other problems. What was she alluding to? Like an explosion? Because I know sometimes they say flaring is needed to prevent an explosion.
Well, for one thing, you can't. I'll give you an example. Storage tanks. Storage tanks are designed to operate only at slightly above atmospheric pressure at most. Otherwise, you'll ruin the tank. It'll deform the tank. It'll ruin the tank. And that's why they have relief valves on those tanks. One of the things you can do, though, is in certain cases you might be able to vent that relief valve to a control device or a collection system